All right, so the arm balancing went really well today. Tried a couple of different poses, tried a couple of different ways to get into the side frog stand or side crow pose, and that worked out a lot better. I felt a lot better about that. But let's just hit some tripod headstands, and then we'll try some other stuff. right, that was pretty good for the standard tripod headstands. Let's go ahead and try the assisted headstands, the ones like that. Put this on the floor. Last week, I made some pretty good progress with that. Let's see if we can keep that up. That went really good. I was watching a tutorial and they were mentioning that particularly when you're starting a new headstand or handstand pose, doing 3 kicks and getting up on the 3rd kick makes it a lot easier. The first one, you just kind of go up a little bit and get your feel for the momentum. The second one, you kick and just get your feeling for a little bit off the ground. And that prepares you for the 3rd one to sort of get up and figure out where you are. And that worked a lot better. I still need to work a little bit about, I'm arching my back. I'm kind of doing a little bit of a banana thing there. And that's not right. It's definitely a lot better than it was. So let's keep working at it. Oops. Hit the wall. Let's do that again. Oops. All right, one of the things I noticed I was doing was I'm starting off with my hands like this, behind my head, hands like this. But as I'm kicking up into it, my hands are separated a little bit. And I think that that's kind of taking away some of the force and some of the control I'm getting from my forearms. I'm going to try to work on that a little bit more, make sure I keep my hands really clopped together. Yeah, I hit the wall a couple of times on that, but that felt a lot more steady. So let's keep practicing. Oops. The kick-up's definitely feeling better. And that, I think, is the key, too, in getting up there, is making sure that my hands are really tight together, because that definitely seems to give a lot more stability. And interestingly, it really changes the sort of where the center of gravity is. So let's do that a couple more times and then move on. Okay, I just figured something out. Something super duper important. When I'm doing frog stands, and my hands on the ground, doing frog stands, right? Hands on the ground, leaning in, like this, right? Okay. When my hand's on the ground, one of the things you do is, if you're leaning forward too much, you rock back and you put a little bit more weight on the palm of your hands. And that shifts the weight of gravity back a little bit. If you want, and so if you're leaning too far back, you grip here. And that what that does is shift the weight forward a little bit. That's a super important part. So I'm doing the frog stand now, right? Going into it, I'm balancing. I'm gripping on the front a little bit, here, there, a little bit, on the front, oh, going back a little bit, so now I'm back on the heels of my hands. Oh, really back on the heels of my hands because I almost lost it. Now, gripping a little bit more in the front. This kind of constantly gripping. So it's this constant sort of grip, grip, back, back, grip, grip, back, back. It may look like, maybe it doesn't, but maybe it may look like you just go into it and you're there. That's not it at all. There's a constant sort of, I mean, sometimes you get into it where you're into it, but it's always this sort of adjustment to make sure that your gravity's there and it's all okay. Well, here's what I just figured out. When I'm doing the headstands like this, like that, right? This It's the exact same thing. If I'm back like here, like this, and I want to, and my weight is going too far back, it's headed towards the wall, I need to push this down. I need to push that into the floor, and that rights me. Likewise, if I'm starting to head forward too much, I need to push my forearms and my elbow into the ground. That's a huge revelation. I just figured something else out too. That's got to be the key for forearm stands. I'm not even close to doing a forearm stand, but that has got to be the key to balancing. It's got to be the exact same thing. In fact, I wonder, I've seen some people do forearm stands not like this, but like this. That's interesting. I wonder if that's easier. We'll try that in a little bit. I want to do a few more of these because that was pretty cool, and then we'll move on to try some forearm stands. Oops. Wow! All right, I said we're going to move on, but let's try it a couple more times. Oops. All right, that totally makes a huge difference. Couple things I did learn from that last time. Kicking up, still have to get the feeling for that, that's fine. But the times when I really went back and couldn't do that and I hit the wall, I noticed my hands had separated a little bit instead of keeping it like that. When I have it like this, it's significantly easier to do. So I need to really concentrate on making sure that I have good form and my palms are together, because that made a huge difference. This was the first time I really felt like when I'm up there, if I'm starting to lean back, I just push in a little bit and I sort of correct it. And if I'm leaning forward, I pull back a little bit. So I'm going to try that a couple more times, then we'll move on. This is huge. That's so exciting. That's so... Right. Oops. Wow, that is major. That is a huge, huge breakthrough. And I'm really glad I caught it on video. All right, let's do a couple of handstands against the wall, practice those a little bit, and then we'll try some of the forearm stuff. Let's go. Whew. I know it's just up against the wall, but slow progress. Let's do a few forearm stands, or at least some exercises into forearm stands. And one of the things I'm going to try is to do forearm stands like I did the headstands. Instead of like this, almost like that, where you have a little bit more control, but it feels a little bit more unnatural. It's because a weird thing's going on with your shoulder when you're doing that. Not painful or damaging or anything, it just feels weird. It feels like it's an unnatural movement. To this. Let's try doing forearm stands like this and see what happens. Okay, clarify. Not forearm stands, but the exercises into forearm stands. You know what I mean. All right, that was better, but I just can't get the feeling for that. Very strange. All right, let's keep going. There's more exercises I can do to practice to get into someday doing forearms. All right, that was definitely a lot better. This versus this. This, I really felt like I had a lot more control, more of the weight that I could really shift around, have a little more control on that. Whereas this, I really felt like it was just, like I said, it was just a really unnatural kind of feeling in my shoulders, and this feels much better and much more stable. I'm not sure if this is easier than that, or it's just a weird personal thing, I don't know. I'm gonna keep doing this because this definitely seems better. Let's keep going. So strange. Every time I try to do that, this is supposed to be the floor, supposed to be looking sort of forward, but every time I do that, like just kinetically, my head wants to go tuck and do a tripod headstand. All right, let's keep trying. All right, I still have a long way to go with those, but that is definitely a lot better. So let's go back to doing some tripod headstands. The ones I haven't done yet are the ones where I shift my hands. So let's do that. All right, it's the first time I tried shifting both hands from the standard position to this position, the floor, all at once. It worked really comfortable. I'm really surprised how well this one is going. I should shut up because something's going to happen horribly wrong and I'm going to hurt myself. Let's do a couple more of those, mess around with a little bit of some leg poses. Whew. Couldn't hold it. Let's try that again. Well, that's pretty cool. That's one of the more advanced poses too, and that went pretty well. Let's have a recap of what happened today. For the arm balancing, I tried a couple new poses. The one where your legs are crossed, where your arm goes between your legs, and then your balance is on this back leg. So if I can do this, I can get this done like this. Bounce and shift. Anyway, I did that one. That's a brand new one. I have not done that one before. And that went really well. I felt like there's definite progress in doing the side crow or side frog stand. The pose I used to get into it was different than I've been doing before. And this is a lot easier, where I really feel like my legs are lined up and my knees are lined up and I'm able to shift. It just felt a lot more comfortable. So I felt really good about that. I had some really nice getting into the flying crow or leg extensions. The last couple of weeks, I've really felt like I've been able to go slow and sort of methodical and really get my legs straight. And once it's up there, I can't hold it for very long at all, but I can get it up there slow instead of sort of kicking it up. So that felt really, really fantastic. And headstands are going great. I'm doing standard headstands, which are really fantastic, and those are going really, really well. The new ones, what a revelation for the assisted. not only did I do this last week, and that made such a huge difference, but realizing this huge revelation that it's just like frog stands, that you have to shift your weight by doing the sort of exact same mechanism, just instead of with your hands and your fingers, with your fist, hands together, and your forearms and elbows. That's really cool. What a huge difference. Headstand's still a long ways away, but up against the wall, getting a feeling for it, slowly moving along. I think I kind of feel the same way. I don't quite have the feeling for this for the forearm stands. I just don't quite have it yet. But it was definitely better today, for sure. This pose instead of this made a huge difference. Wow, that was great. Listen, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. I realize hardly anybody watches this, but the few that do, I genuinely appreciate it. Listen, everybody, take care of yourself. Stay safe. See you next time. Ugh.